dermatomyositis. Okay. Um, okay. The definition, what is dermatomyositis? It's an idiopathic inflammatory myopathy. There are two inflammatory myopathies. What you need to remember is polymyositis and dermatomyositis. Name itself indicates dermato, it involves skin manifestation. So in USMLE examination, they should give you the skin manifestations. Now there are plenty of skin manifestations. So what you need to do, you need to remember the characteristic finding of the skin manifestation in a dermatomyositis. That's very important. Not only the characteristics, what you can see, what else you can see as a skin manifestation. That's very important. Okay, it is a systemic disorder that most frequently affects the skin and the muscle. That is very important, but may also affect the joints, esophagus, lungs, and less commonly the heart. So in joints they have arthritis, in the esophagus they can have a dysphagia. That's very important, remember. Okay, regarding the pathophysiology, I will discuss only the important point, that's it, so that it can help you to go through the ones. It is a humoral attack against the muscle capillaries and the muscle arterioles, endothelium of the endomysial blood vessels. The disease starts when the putative antibodies or other factors activate C3, forming C3b and a C4b fragments that lead to formation of a C3bNEO neo and a membrane attack complex MAC, which are deposited in the endomysial musculature. Complement 5b to 9 MAC is deposited and is needed in preparing the cell for a destruction in antibody-mediated diseases. B cells and the CD4 helper cells are also present in abundance in the inflammatory reaction associated with the blood vessels. What else you can see is their association with the family history of who have a DR3, DR5 and a DR7, and there is also abnormal T cell function. Skin disease as one of the initial manifestation, that's very important. So in USMLE you need to see for skin manifestation. If you see skin manifestation, first think of dermatomyositis before going to polymyositis. In polymyositis you don't see any rash, any skin manifestations. Okay, this is a proximal or distal, this is a proximal muscle weakness. Okay, so this is a proximal muscle weakness. Again I'm repeating the same thing what I repeated in the polymyositis, so that you should become a perfect, because they will not give you in USMLE examination this is a proximal muscle weakness. They give the history, clinical history, so you need to find out. So they give that the patient has a trouble walking arising from the sitting position or combing their hair, reaching the items cabinets, right? These are the proximal muscles. What are the distal muscles? The distal muscles like writing, okay, very important. Buttoning the shirts, very important. Okay, heliotrope rash, blue, purple, HP, BP, discoloration on the upper eyelids, okay, and raised and violaceous skin, scaly eruptions on the knuckles. That's very important. Characteristics but not pathognomic features include, not only you have to remember the characteristics, but you also need to remember what other skin manifestations you can see. So those are malar erythema, okay, poikiloderma, is sensitive, photosensitive distribution, violaceous erythema on the extensor surface, and periungual and cuticular changes. There is a commonly a flat red rash involving the face and the upper trunk. The erythematous lesions may result in scaling, pigmentation and depigmentation of the skin. So there can be two things, from the skin pigmentation and the depigmentation too, producing a shiny appearance. The rash may involve other body surfaces including knees, elbows, neck, anterior chest, V sign, okay, V sign, or back and shoulders. Sun exposure can exacerbate the rash. So remember, sun exposure can exacerbate the rash, very important. So, okay, they can confuse you with the SLE, that's very important. So if you need to differentiate from SLE, you need to do biopsy is the best to differentiate. That's why clinically it's very difficult. So you need to know very important points about the dermatomyositis. That's why I'm telling you. Okay guys, dilated capillary loops at the base of the fingernails are characteristics of dermatomyositis. Dilated capillary loops at the base of the fingernails are characteristics. Remember, the lapis are same as that of polymyositis. Same CK and but aldolase and other tests they also eat abnormal tests. Okay, there is no difference in that. The thing what different dermatomyositis from polymyositis, one is in clinical manifestation is skin rash, the other thing is biopsy. The positive antinuclear antibody finding is common in a patient with dermatomyositis. Anti-Mi2 antibodies are highly specific for the dermatomyositis. Highly specific is the anti-Mi2. Sometimes in USMLE they will ask you which of the following antibodies are highly specific for the dermatomyositis. So think of anti-Mi. Mission Impossible 2. Oh, sorry. Okay, anti-Jo, one same thing you can see in the patient with polymyositis than dermatomyositis. So more common in polymyositis. So okay, muscle biopsy is very important. So you need to know the findings of the muscle biopsy. Using the step 3, they will ask you which of the following is the best method to diagnose the disease. And in step 2 CK, they give you the biopsy results and they ask you the diagnosis. This is what actually the system works in USMLE. Okay, the derma reveals a perivascular and interfascicular inflammatory infiltrates with adjoining groups of muscle fibers, degeneration and regeneration. This contrasts with the polymyositis infiltrates, which are mainly intrafascicular. Very important, they are intra, whereas they are interfascicular. Endomysial inflammation with scattered indifferent muscle fibers and necrosis. Inflammation is the histological hallmark of the dermatomyositis, polymyositis and intrusion body myositis. Dermatomyositis is the only one of the three that shows perifascicular atrophy. Very important, perifascicular atrophy, one of the three, dermatomyositis. Okay, in addition, many fibers undergo degeneration and necrosis that cause them to lose their staying ability. Therefore, they are termed as ghost fibers. They can ask you as a ghost fibers. Okay, so when these changes are associated with the collection of inflammatory cells around the blood vessels, the diagnosis of the dermatomyositis is certain. Very important. Treatment. How do you treat? There is no difference in the treating the patient with the dermatomyositis and the polymyositis. Then why we should know all the clinical features and why we need to differentiate them when the treatment is same. One, because we have a skin manifestation, so we need to treat the skin manifestations. That's very important. So the treatment is same. The skin manifestation, sun avoidance very important, sun protection very important. Hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine can be used. Okay, there is one complication from dermatomyositis. There is a calcinosis. Just let me brief you with the calcinosis. Calcinosis is the accumulation of the calcium in the soft tissue. It is a type of dystrophic calcification. Okay, so what do you need to give for this is calcium channel blocker diltiazem. Okay, that can help you. No need to remember the doses. Okay, the other important point what I want you to know is that female patients with the dermatomyositis should be screened, but remember this is should be screened by ovarian cancer. They can ask you the female lady and the dermatomyositis and which of the following test you would like to do, or which of the following screening test you would like to do. So remember, this is ovarian cancer, very important. Okay, thank you so much for watching my video. Please do subscribe. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please comment, please thumb up. Okay, thank you so much. I will come up with more videos. Let me know how I am doing.